A very good morning to you and welcome to Signature Morning here in Abuja, Nigerian political capital. My name is Godwin Sunday. This morning we'll be looking at harnessing the potentials of Nigerian youth and some of the challenges that has tend to becloud the potentials of Nigerian youth. And who is best to join me in this conversation than a youth enthusiast who is Prince Edward Osimhen, popularly known as Prince Seven, because he's the founder of Prince Seven Initiative, and we'll be talking about harnessing the potential of youth in Nigeria. But first, let me welcome you officially, Prince Edward, Prince Seven,
Thank you.
to this
Thank you.
station.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So first, tell us about some of the potentials that Nigerian youths tend to possess as it stands right now in this day and age.
The youths in Nigeria possess a whole lot of potentials, from the creative industry, sports development, skills and entrepreneurship development, and a couple of other sectors. Human capital development is the greatest. Those who invest in human capital will always get a reward, and the youths are, highly potential. And though the platforms are not available, but some of them have found a way to create platforms on their own to keep them going. So there's a whole lot of potentials in Nigerian youth across all sectors. The rural space have not been tapped yet. And you find a whole lot of fantastic young people with determination. The Nigerian youth are resilient. Nigerian youth just need the right mentorship, the right guide, the right direction, and the right attention.
All right. To a very large extent, a lot of people will say that Nigerian youth are lazy. Nigerian youth are not creative enough. That's why we have a lot of youth wanting to leave Nigeria on the Japa syndrome base to go outside the country. But how true is this narrative?
I won't fault that, and I will fault that narrative. Nigerian youth are not lazy. Nigerian youth have not been given the right platform. They said heaven help those who help themselves, we know. But a resilient youth who has the capacity to create ideas, innovation, but does not have the right funding mechanism and does not have the right support base, won't function properly. One of the major problems of society is mentorship. Young people need to be mentored. Young people need to be guided. Young people need to be led, need to be given sense of belonging. Youth deserve every support, every necessary support. There are a whole lot of sectors that are not creating the right platform for young people. When you look at the sports sector, we have football clubs and stadiums, that are not properly utilized. You have creative industry. We know what the level of resource base that we are getting from the creative industry, from movie productions to movie productions to tech. The tech space has a whole lot of young people with innovative skills and tech solutions, but they lack funding. So what I think that is necessary in this time to harness the potentials of Nigerian youth is for government to create enabling environment for young people to evolve and revolve within themselves. If you look at the sports sector, it's highly untapped. If you have a football stadiums that are not properly utilized, what we need to do is to engage them. Youth have the energy, youth have the power. Build the youth, and if you build the youth will grow to create resource control for communities and our society. So our youth need more attention. When you still see that, driving around major places where youth gather, you hardly go to the stadium and see the stadium being opened for massive, constant engagement. Some areas are locked up. People are not given platforms. Young people are playing football on streets without the right tools. No provision for the right environment. And they are doing it on their own. Young people are struggling and trying to leave the country for greener pastures, either for sports tourism, one thing or the other. There's no support, there's no accessibility, and some of us who run private clubs and who are into private and support, we're creating solutions for young people in our own little space. We need to be contacted, but there should be a more engaging room to discuss the future of Nigerian youths. Those who invest in Nigerian on these people, will get the necessary reward.
To a very large extent, the government will say that they are doing enough and putting a lot of infrastructures in place to ensure that the Nigerian youth harness their potential to its fullest. But then on the part of Nigerian youth, they are not utilizing some of the platforms being given to them. How correct is this?
I say this, having been in the youth sector for almost 20, more than 20 years of my life. I've served as special advisor to Governor on Youth Affairs, and I've also served as special advisor sports and cinematography. And I can tell you that the youth, human resource, like I said, has more capacity than even natural resources, because even the natural resources depends on the hands of human resource. Without humans, these resources, the natural resources, won't be able to, can't be managed properly. So a community and a country that invests in its people. Nigeria is not just about the geographical location, but its people. So the Nigerian youths, who constitute 75% of population of society, need the right direction, the right mentorship, the right provisions to enable them, bring out their best potentials. Look at what's going on in Afrobeats today. Afrobeats is taking over the world. Nigerian musicians are making so much money in dollars around the world, in various, closing up big spaces and shutting down stadiums globally. In every of those Nigerian youths that you're seeing taking Nigeria to the global stage, we have more than 99% of such youths in our communities and in our rural space who need the right platform. Government should engage properly beyond policy directions and documents to be more practical in terms of engaging young people. Well, let's see if every state has a multifunctional youth development center that is functional. If every state has not even senatorial districts, and even local government. We have 700 and something local governments in Nigeria. If every local government is focused on building a multimedia center where young people can have access to beats for songs and have government support and produce some of their songs for them, give them that enabling environment. Government should move in to begin to look at some of these things as also a major way of generating revenue for communal development. Youth have energy. Youth have the right infrastructure. We have the creative ability. How many platforms are available? There are no jobs, and if there are no jobs, someone needs to create the job. And how do you create the job? Is to create the enabling environment, create the platforms, give them access to equipment, equip them, give them access to use, to use platforms and environment hubs. Let's have a whole lot of youth development hubs. Let's see government begin to go beyond just policy documents and enabling environment, but to create funding mechanisms for young people to engage and boost their well-being. If we can do that across all sectors, I believe that we'll do well. Nigerian youths have shown resilience, that they have what it takes to provide solution to the challenges of the immediate communities that we find ourselves. Insecurity is on the high. They say, if you engage, an idle man is devil's workshop. So we need to make sure that Nigerian youths are not idle, and those who have been able to create ideas for themselves should be given the right environment to implement. There must be a whole lot of mentors. That mentor-mentee program should kickstart. Let every young person be guided. Nobody can do it alone. Why the country is where it is that the leaders were not properly groomed and trained for leadership. So we have a whole lot of accidented leaders who are leading us today. So we need to intentionally invest. We cannot continue to go through a narrative and we won't change that narrative. We cannot continue to in a certain standard or pattern and we're doing nothing. I'm not saying the government is not doing a whole lot. The government is doing a whole lot, but we need to do more. And this is not just saddle on the government alone. People, private sector, individuals, churches, public opinions, people must come together to see how collectively we can build our next generation. No matter how much you build the walls around you, if you do not prepare the children of others, not just your children, there's a role to play to ensure that both your children and the children of others have the necessary environment. Everybody must invest in the next generation. And how do you invest in the next generation? Is advocacy, education, intentionally mentoring them, giving your time and energy for young people who have dreams and see how they can be able to bet their dreams. It's enough to dream, but how are you living your dream? Nigerian youths must be encouraged to start living their dreams. Practice makes perfect. We have a community of people who have been leading us since 1960. From 1960 till now, they have made a whole lot of mistakes. Nigerians should give Nigerians an opportunity to make their own mistakes. I don't think that their mistakes will be as worst as the mistakes that have been made so far. We need that time to build ourselves. We need that time to try new things. If you do not try them, how do you achieve them?
Let's talk about substance abuse among Nigerian youth. It is believed that Nigerian youth are a bit tired and frustrated, so the best option is to delve into the world of abusing substances, which has lately been on the rise. How best can this be addressed? And how correct is that narrative that Nigerian youth are frustrated?
When you have an idea, and the idea came probably when you were in your teens, probably you want to be a footballer, or you look up and you say, oh, I want to be like D'banj, I want to be like Davido, I want to be like Wizkid, and you struggle in that environment. You put in your best. You know, you come from a community, a family that probably you're not even getting support of your family members who think you should be a medical doctor. When your passion is to still go to school, but you want to be supported to become a musician, and then you grow from one age, from your teenage age to your adult age, and you're clocking 30, you're going to 35, you're still living in your father's house, you're still struggling to make a mark, and nothing is attending to you, naturally puts you in that state of shutdown where you begin to give up. And nobody, you know, that's why I feel that the society we have should do more in engaging in conversations, town hall meetings. We need to sensitize young people. Young people need to be encouraged. We need young people, you know, and you drivers who know how to shape in society will begin to work on the mentality of its people. When youths are engaged, they say an idle man is the devil's workshop. The idleness of Nigerian youth, and some of them are not idle, they just don't have the right support, the right mechanism to bet their visions. They have been doing it in their own little way. They don't have the right guide to know. Some young people don't even know that it's not easy, that the man you see with the Lamborghini, you know, had a process in life, you know. So we want quick ends, and young people need quick ends and are not ready to go through the process. So we must begin to build processes for young people and teach them to understand that life is process, and if the processes are available, and if the processes are not politicized, then Nigerian youth can trust the system. So we need to create systems and processes that helps to bet the next generation of great people. We know that it's tested and trusted, that the youth industry has a whole lot. The youth race population has a whole lot in developing Nigeria and developing its community. So let's invest in that development.
Prince Seven, your organization has been at the forefront of youth leadership, empowerment, and all of this. But looking at Nigeria as it stands right now, how prepared are the Nigerian youth to take up the mantle of leadership? Of course, you've spoken about the governance and getting the youth, let the youth take the bull by the horn, let them be allowed to make their own mistakes. But as it stands right now, looking at the present day and time, are the Nigerian youth even ready for leadership?
The Nigerian youths are ready. They say many are called, few are chosen. A chosen generation, a royal priesthood. So some certain Nigerian youths are ready, and they are ready to drive others. There's always a driver in every society, in every environment. Nigerian youths are ready. When you put it, Nigerian youths are not ready, you're generalizing the aspect of those. You're putting both those who are ready and those who are not ready. It's a general phenomenon. So when you say Nigerian youths are not ready, it means you're generalizing Nigerian youths. But when you say Nigerian youths are ready, it's good, because a certain percentage of Nigerian youths are ready to lead others. There's always a leader and a messiah amongst the multitude. There's always someone who stands out, and there are a whole lot of Nigerian youths who have stood out, who stand out in various endeavors of their human life, you know, both in private sector, in politics and good governance, in development, in finance, in the creative industry and the creative space. You'll find a whole lot of young people who are doing well. Now, how do you begin to build a mechanism of giving them the opportunity to unveil those potentials? There are track records, you know. When you find a young man who has a track record over time, that man must be encouraged. In our country, we dim lights. We do not enhance light. We destroy patterns. We do not encourage patterns. We know there's a negativity, and we do not give positivity an opportunity and a chance. I believe that everybody must be positive driven. We are all architects of our own destiny, and Nigeria is ready. You know, the giant of Africa is not about Africa and Nigeria. It's not about the geographical location, but its people. So till the giant in me and you arise, Africa will not arise. So it takes me and you to become a system, a structure, and a community. So the community is not just about the trees and the location, it's about the people. So the people, there must be strong investment in the people. And I believe that Nigerian youths are very ready to take over any leadership opportunity. Yes, you know, they'll make few mistakes, but with the right guide, I think our elders should sit back more, play that umpire, sincere umpire, to look at the Nigerian youths and those who are doing well begin to pay attention to the next generation. You cannot keep leading without giving the next generation an opportunity to lead. You should be able to guide and correct them and say, oh, I did this, let's try a different narrative. We can't continue the same narrative. If the narrative was good enough, we won't be where we are. Let's begin to look at practical leadership that has track records, and young people who have been able to create a niche for themselves should be encouraged and made to and to be a rallying point for other young people so they can share their success stories and share their opinions to help build the Nigerian of our dream.
All right, Prince Godswill Osim Edward, let's talk about in terms of the youth and its potentials. But let's take it from the position of leadership first. You mentioned a few youths, so I wanted to generalize the youth. Few youths are ready. But wouldn't this further throw us in terms of our leadership strive back to an oligarchy system where it becomes a government of a selected few? That's on one hand. On the second hand, we look at it from the perspective of youth engagement, even from communities and local government strata. It's as if most youths that want to even come into leadership, the first point of contact for them is the presidency and perhaps being a governor. We don't see this strength and pursuit even going down to the drive route. How do we balance this even as youths begin to tilt towards harnessing their potentials?
I must say that there are different strides in that Nigerian youths have taken over time. I'm a grassroots politician by the grace of God, and I understand my roots and I understand what politics is even to the grassroots. A couple of Nigerian youths are running for various positions, because of the local government elections in different states have taken place, and from councillorship and all. And you can find a whole lot of resilient young people who are determined to want to be in that space. There's no community. If you look around every community, there's always a leader, a young leader who's distinguished himself among that little community. When I meant that youths would drive others, it means that my level of experience might not be your level of experience. My level of intelligence might not be your level of intelligence, but the unity of purpose that comes in our synergy coming together to form a base to build and lead our community is what we need to do, because there are areas where you might have strength than me, and there are areas where I might have strength than you. So we come together, we identify our strengths, and we begin to lead. And then in every environment, there's always a leader. If other young people do not possess the required preparedness or have not been ready or prepared for leadership, then that is why they must come under mentorship. Mentorship is allowed. Role models are created to give vision to others. There must always be a driver. It doesn't mean that others are not involved. We drive and prepare you. If I'm in an opportunity, I'll prepare you because I know that there must be a taking over. I won't be there forever. So we must begin to intentionally create leadership and prepare the next generation for leadership. So if we shouldn't be sycophantic and sentimental about who leads us. It's not about my community man, my tribes man. It's not about my family member. It's about Nigeria. Nigeria belongs to all of us, and collectively we must build and fix the country. So Nigerian youths are ready. A few amount of Nigerian youths have what it takes to lead the country. We are not ready to lead. Well, we're not saying it's a must that we might take the first position in the land, but let's begin to be involved in policy directions and positions and offices. Let's be in the center point of discussion. Let's have more young people infiltrating, environments. We have the energy. We can take risk for our country. We are not afraid. We can dare. We can take the bull by the horn to defend our integrity and our democracy. So let's be in conversations. Let's be in technical environments where this country is being led. Let's be in the hem of affair. We might not be the direct point man, but let us be around so that we can nurture and lead and expose Nigerians to information. Knowledge is power. So what you're informed is what brings out your character, the strength of your character. But when you're not informed, you're deformed. So we have a deformed system because they will refuse to inform those who need the right information. And you look at the social space now, negative information strives. Why positive information is hidden. It's the same thing. We're not investing in knowledge. We need more knowledgeable people. We need to expose Nigerians. We need the truth. To know the truth, it will set you free. Nigerians and the leadership must expose its youth to the truth. We need to know that some certain informations that must be available to some certain young people in the country. So we feel carried it along, and everybody can begin to work. And we need to work for our generation. Nobody can fix 75% population if you're not part of that population. So the more young people who lead themselves, the more young people can give hope to more young people. And young people can begin to see that, oh, I am doing this. The story is different. You cannot tell people about tech. Old men can discuss technology. Yes, you might be passionate about it, but you can't discuss my generation. Our generation should discuss itself. We know our challenges. The only problem is that if we fail to allow our generation to take over responsibilities of 75% population, we suffer it more. So the problems of other numbers, that makes up the entirety of the nation is not that much, because they do not have too many challenges. They do not have problems in job. They don't have problems in education. You don't have problems in basic amenities. The insecurity rests on the shoulders of young people. So you need young people to begin to channel programs that can affect their generation. We need to look at young people that will begin to drive solutions, and other young people will see that it's coming from the arm of young people. And then there can be that collaboration that say that, oh, it's our season. We are the ones driving, But when you have young people who are sitting behind the scene, and yet their generation needs to be revived, and we're talking about 75% of the mass of the country. So we need young people to drive more, and we need young people to understudy our elders, because definitely a taking over will take place someday. But let it be a peaceful transition. Let us transmit power in the place of mentorship and the place of preparing the next generation for leadership. If you do not prepare them, how well do you want them to serve?
Prince, there is this narrative. I don't know how to place it, but it is believed that when you talk about leadership amongst younger people, especially the youth, it has more of a spiritual dimension, that you must be spiritually inclined before you will even talk about or come into the political space. We'll talk about this after this short break. Let's go on this break, and we'll come back. We'll be talking more with Prince about the spiritual dimension of leadership, even as it affects youth, and perhaps it might be a factor that is even hindering the harnessing of potential of Nigerian youth. Stay with us as Signature Morning continues after this short break.
I think it's high time that Dangote should give back to Nigeria, because for a very long time, Nigerians has feed Dangote. So even though Dangote sold his fuel for 500 naira to Nigeria, it's not too bad. So 970 naira is not fair. With the nature of fights, Nigeria fight through Brekte Family Radio Station in Abuja. I am very sure even Dangote is aware about it. So 970 naira is not too that. It's not a shocking price. So if you want to really bring down the burden of Nigeria, I think you should bring it down more, like 700 naira. Let's be fair with him too, because he's a businessman.
So the price of if Dangote reducing 20 naira from the price of fuel does not change anything, because the transportation fare still remains the same. So the masses are really suffering concerning the transportation fare. So the government just needs to look into it. Let them return the price back to 600. If Dangote really want to help the masses, is to reduce it back. But 20 naira does not affect anything, because the price of everything, the price of goods in the market, all still remain intact the way how it is. Very, very expensive.
Well, that's the media. If it's been implemented actually, it will help Nigerians to cushion some stress we Nigerians are undergoing. It will also reduce the cost of transportation and the importation of fuel. It will go a long way anyway if it's been implemented, not just a media reduction. If it's been actualized in real nature, which all Nigerians will benefit, as one of the domestic refinery proudly owned by Nigerians.
We are expecting the fuel to come down to at least 350 naira or 400 naira per liter. 970 something naira is almost 1,000 naira. So it's still on the high side. It should come down to 350 or 400 per liter.
My own problem is in this our country, not that they remove, but how much are they paying the workers? That is the problem. Not that they remove. How much are they paying the workers? Say they are adding something to the workers. That one no problem. But everything in this country is very high. So that is it. Even you remove there is still a problem inside the country. So that is it. If you remove it, there are some people who sell it higher than that amount that they remove. The government know what to do to fix the country because people are suffering. So that is it. Everybody now, you can't see Nigeria people in the road smiling on their face. No happiness. So that is it. Everything is cost. Bag of rice, mudu of rice now 3,000. How much are they paying you salary? You pay salary, they pay you salary, you transport, you feed. How much will remain? Nothing will remain. You will even have to like to borrow to add inside.
The fuel reduction by Dangote, actually, so he had, but we still bleeding to Mr. President. We are calling open on that. We still need more reduction because of the economy is unbearable, because people are suffer. Even not in other, even it's not in other states, including Abuja, people are suffer. But we need more reduction about this so that we can able to meet their needs. Yes, because yeah, the 20 naira he reduced, he try a lot, but we still want the Mr. President, Bola, as well as Tinubu. We are bleeding to him that we should have more reduction.
Welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, this is still Signature Morning here on Signature TV. My name is Godwin Sunday, and with me in the studio is Prince Edward Osim, and we're talking about some of the potentials of Nigerian youth, even as it stands right now. But before we went on that break, I was trying to find out from you about some of the ideology and mindsets. Some people have formed school of thought that to become a leader in Nigeria as a young person, you must be spiritually attentive. You must belong to one spiritual group or another. You've been a leader for a while. How correct is this narrative?
It's a narrative, and anything that is a narrative can be changed too. And for me, I don't believe as a young leader. In fact, why would you live on earth and function at the space you want to function without spirituality? Spirituality controls the physicality, so knowledge is power. I want young people who know the truth, and the truth will set them free. You can't get involved in anything in life without putting the God factor. So God is real. So whatever factor you put at your disposition, you must be ready to understand that the world is spiritual, and the spiritual controls the physical. So if you want to go into public office and you want to go into politics, and you know that over time our people have been exposed to so much, people do too much for the quest of power, you too have to equip yourself. It's not a story. You have to depend on God, you have to hold on to God, you have to pray more, you have to be strong, because a sound mind, you can't be sound if you're spiritually not sound. So these things are there, but what are you doing as an individual? You don't just jump into people. You don't just go into something because everybody's going into it. You must be prepared mentally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually to be a great leader. You must be sound.
Spiritually sound. That's quite interesting. Now, let's talk about the Prince 7 Youth Development Initiative.
Thank you.
How did you come about this initiative?
I've done a whole lot of things over time for young people, from various initiatives for young people, leading and supporting youths across the board, from sports, education, creative industry, movies, sound, lighting, everything that has to do, almost the full value chain of supporting young people, youth with the right skills, youth who want to get skilled, youth who want to go to school, youth who need the right mentorship, who need the right contact, who need the right grooming, in printing, in media, in photography, in videography, in music, a whole lot of fields. I've supported young people. So I realized that I was doing them because of my passion. I used to do what is called Search for the Unknown Seed in Abuja back then, and a whole lot of people, both in the creative industry from all sectors who saw that as a platform. I needed that young people needed platforms. So I've created a whole lot of platforms that young people have bettered on, have climbed on, have been exposed to in their various societies that have made most of them very big in society today. At least I have those track records. And I realized that for me to succeed further, I need to bring this under an organization of the things I'm doing so I can probably structure it, and that's where when I ran for House of Reps in 2019, and I had that first-hand experience on the political processes. I realized that we needed to do a whole lot in the formative, in forming the mindset of young people and preparing young people for leadership. So it was not just going to be a flay, a passion, or a lifestyle, but I need to structure it properly for legacy purposes, and so that we can, as a structured organization, work hand in hand and collaborate, with other agencies to do this business of youth development. For me, it's not a business, it's a calling. And to take the calling serious. So that's why we registered the Prince 7 Youth Development Initiative. It means that all initiatives that helps to give young people sense of belonging in society and an opportunity to become functional citizens of society. We all need to create a little quarter. So, our initiatives, are focused on, we have the Pad the Girl, where we're distributing hygienes to communities and secondary schools, giving young people clean and healthy hygiene, because we know that cleanliness is next to godliness, and the sound mind must be in a healthy environment. And we know that young girls are going through a whole lot in terms of their hygiene. They are losing their self-esteem, and their moral standing. So we are doing Pad the Girl and driving that advocacy. We have the LLD, the Ladies Lead Director, which is a mentor-mentee program where we build you to become a lady that is leading other ladies in society, contributing your little quarter and empowering them. And we have the the youth. We have where we provide skills. We have the Give Them Ball, Not Guns, which is advocacy to bring unity and engage young people on the value of value in exchange for vices. There's a whole lot of insecurities. Football and Europe has gotten it right by creating that, and we're setting up clubs and strategic football clubs and donating few football tools to strategic communities and secondary schools. That's the main purpose of the Give Them Ball, Not Guns. We have a couple of them almost done. We have the Youth Create, for the creative space, about 7 initiatives, and we're using to drive. We have a football club, and we saw the success stories of what the club is doing. The club and academy division 2 in Calabar called the Prince 7 FC. It's been there for years now, and a whole lot of young people are benefiting from that platform. And we felt that, we should take this beyond that, and created a nomenclature called Give Them Ball, Not Guns, and a vision also to drive to get young people to begin to accept, shun violence. And shun violence and make yourself self-sufficient for society. Make yourself an asset, a valuable asset to society. We all have so much to offer beyond our negativities and the vices that come. So we want to cleanse young people from those negativities, and we interact more. We believe in conferences, we believe in town hall meetings, we believe in stakeholders engagement, we believe in putting ourselves out there. Young people need to know. Education and knowledge is very powerful. We have what is also called Educate Africa, where we are focused on building and instilling the virtues of education and reading habits, and then providing the necessary materials for young people to get exposed.
All right, Prince, if we give you the opportunity, you go on and on. But the initiative of Give Them Balls, Not Guns, I was looking at it, doing my research, and I realized that between the year 2015 to when you left up to contest for the office of the House of Rep in 2019, when you left the administration, there was an incident that happened. I don't know if I'm correct, but you were attacked at one point. And yes, so when I read it and I saw the Give Them Balls, Not Guns, so I'm asking, could that have been what has informed your decision into giving them balls and not guns?
It's hurtful to see an amazing generation of young people, because of lack of the right mentorship lack of the right environment, education, lack of the right opportunity, and the right moral standing, engage in negativities and vices. I have an experience, and I understand how God saved me from gun attacks and gunmen. Not once, not twice. I have a scar on my head. I survived assassination attempt. A bullet actually got into the head, but God gave me victory. So I understand what it feels like when young people who should be thinking and critically analyzing solutions to become agent of change in their society should be engaged in negative vices. So that could be one of my informed decision. I practically believe that Nigerian youths are blessed, and Nigerian youths are the backbone. And not just in Nigeria, naturally youths are the backbone of every society, but the society itself must invest on those young people. So what we are seeing today is a negligence of properly invested energy on young people. So the deficiency of what we are seeing here is because there was no efficiency in the appropriate time. So some of us have taken it upon ourselves to contribute and continue to support what government is doing, and to advocate, speak, and create a safe haven for young people. We need young people to choose to be different, to choose the positive side of value than the negative side of value. Give them ball, give them love. Ball, it's a globe. It represents the world. It means young people should be given the world, should be given the world of opportunities, should be given a global thinking, a global mentality, no matter where they come from. Their limitations shouldn't stop them. They should be able to compete with their colleagues across the world. A child from Afikpo should be able to find himself in a conference discussing technology, and will discuss well and prove a solution to the world, not because of where he comes from. Should be able to speak with kids in China, and not being restricted. So the ball thing represents unity of purpose, represents the world, that's all, the global space, and the kind of informed mindset that our generation should be having. Boldness, confidence, character, instilling the right virtues. Nigerian youth should be law-abiding. So it's a wish, it's a prayer, it's an advocacy, it's an education, it's a mindset. We want to sell, we want young people, we want partners, we want people to come together. Europe have changed the narrative. They didn't make that much. Almost every young man or everybody who's played football, who even played for a national team, succeeded outside the space of Nigeria. Got the mark in their career outside. They brought the resources back home. So why can't we build a resource zone? The whole rural environment. Why can't we invest more on football, on sports development, and instead of going to Europe, we can compete amongst ourselves. If people are involved and engaged in the skill of football, and then football becomes what we should be our pride, instead of watching international channels, and seeing what international players are doing. These are like some of them are like leagues, like what we have here. They are local leagues in their community, but became a national, international, and national sensation. So why can't we have local leagues being investing in sports, investing in channeling one thing that brings young people together, one thing that excites young people? Let the government, private sector, and everybody come together to channel that energy in developing young people. If we can keep them engaged, then they will drop the arms and focus on that.
Prince, speaking of, even lastly on this your initiative, I want to even find out from you. You've been on this initiative you've been on youth advocacy for as long as I've known you. You've been there from University of Calabar. After University of Calabar, you've evolved, got into yourself to become involved with the Cross River State Governor Benayade, still speaking about youth. And I'm tempted to ask at this point, first-hand information, when are you going to quit talking about youth? Are you any quitting soon?
I believe I speak about a whole lot of topical areas.
Yeah.
But they say build the youth, you build the future. I will continue to build. I will continue to inspire. I will continue to empower the right minds. Because I know where I find myself today. If I'd had the right support system, the right inspirations, I would have been 100 times better than who I am. But even who I am too, people contributed. People mentored me. People opened my mind to understanding early. People exposed my reasoning early. People gave me platforms to find my true expression and discovery. So if we want the right, leadership has been a major problem in Africa. And when something becomes a problem, you give it solution. And you don't give it solution by procrastinating and talking. You give it solution in your action. So I believe that the solution of Africa is to intentionally empower and prepare young people for leadership.
So bottom line, you're not quitting anytime soon.
Never.
All right, so let's talk about some recommendations. Of course, we've talked about some of the challenges Nigerian youth are having, especially in harnessing their potentials. But is there light at the end of the tunnel?
There is.
For the Nigerian youth as it stands right now? What quick recommendations can we even give to the Nigerian youth at this point in time?
I want Nigerian youths to become more voluntary in nature. You know, an idle man is a devil's workshop. There are no jobs. So create one. You know, I started creating jobs for myself because I realized that I didn't want to come out of school and begin to look for one. So I said, okay, if job creation and unemployment is a problem, I will support government by helping them reduce that problem. I won't become a problem of government. I'll be a solution to government. And how have I made that? By making myself self-sufficient and constantly creating jobs for others. So it means that every Nigerian youth should see themselves first as the solution and not the problem. And if they see themselves as the solution, they will accept responsibility, take responsibility. It's not easy. It's not of the swift or the fastest. It's got time and chance happening to them all, but you must be ready. You must prepare yourself. Now you go to look for jobs. Some Nigerian youths are unemployable. They will always ask you for your work experience. So why don't you be a volunteer? So volunteer to learn. Keep learning, keep building, keep learning from people who have done it. You want to do a certain kind of business, you don't have the resources, then go work for someone. Make yourself available to learn. You know, make yourself available to serve. You know, service comes with reward. Service comes with gratitude. So we shouldn't be afraid to serve. We should put ourselves in the line of duty and tell ourselves, how do we become the solution architects to the problems facing Nigeria and not become the problem? I think it's honorable to wake up every day knowing that you're a solution in action, in deeds, in thinking, in behavior, than knowing that you're a problem to society. I want Nigerian youth to become solution architects and not problem.
So what about people that don't even have that platform right now to want to volunteer into? You don't have that connectivity. Let's speak to people that even stay in rural communities. They might not have such opportunity like some people in the urban communities.
There's in every society you find yourself, you can volunteer in your local church. You can volunteer to teach young people in schools. You can, when you put yourself in a voluntary space, your value begins to be known. Because nobody's going to know what you can do until you start doing it. You can keep speaking about it. I will. No, say I am. The God that we serve says, the I am, that I am, that I am. He changed not. From generation to generation, it remains the same. For people to trust you with power, they must begin to see you leading in your space. They must begin to see your little drops of water that will become an ocean. They will begin to see you harness that energy. So young people in your church, most of us are the best of English students. You know, give yourself 2 hours twice a week to go to the local school around you and teach them what you know. Let people begin to see you becoming a community leader, an agent of change, voluntary service. Let's begin to see you step out and say, oh, I want to be known, so I must do what is abstract. You know, the waste in my environment, I must lead young people to begin to clear it. This is what the government should do. But if the government isn't doing that, you are the government. So the government shall be upon our shoulders. Carry government mistakes. Carry government weaknesses. Become a solution. Always look at yourself from the place of what I am doing for society. Society has given you a sense of belonging to give you an origin. So that is the best. You are a Nigerian. So when you say, I am a Nigerian, you must be a Nigerian with a difference. When you say, oh, others are eating, keep working. Your own turn will come. And when your turn comes, be different. You can keep putting blames, and not solving solutions.
That was quite impressive, amazing. But on the last note, before I let you go, we pack our things and leave the studio.
Thank you.
2019 have come and gone. 2023 have come and gone. First-hand information. are we looking forward to seeing you coming out again for more political office?
I'm a Democrat. I believe so much in democracy and its practice. I left the Foreign Service. As a Foreign Service officer, voluntarily retired to join politics because I believe that there is no external diplomacy without internal democracy. So if I left a career job, because I believe that Nigeria needs to fix its system, and it begins with me and you. So I will never stop being part and parcel of discussing. I'm still young. We'll keep discussing and finding ways to fine tune. And for me, it mustn't be me. It can be any other young person out there. Youth involvement in politics have been a strong driver and advocacy globally, even within a continental space. Those who know me know I'm a strong advocate of youth participation in politics and governance, why young people should get involved, why young people should take responsibility and put themselves forward. Not just any kind of young people with tested and proven records, with track records of excellence. I believe in good governance. I'm a believer of politics and good governance. I'm a believer of nation building. So I will continue to speak at every point and every level, and we'll continue to discuss, we'll continue to find. I take my time across Nigeria without being paid by the government or anyone to identify young people who have what it takes to lead their various communities in the future. And leadership starts now. It doesn't start tomorrow. So we keep building those synergies across boards because we want to be involved. We want to see the vision and the dream of every Nigerian come to pass, where we have leadership that feels the pulse of its people. Where we have leadership that is tested and trusted. We have a president today doing his best. We should prepare to have another president that will do better. So we're looking at progressive nature of our continent and our country. How can we prepare ourselves ahead of time? If Mr. President wasn't prepared, he won't be here today to lead us. So what else are we doing? How do we prepare the next person to be better off? How do we prepare the next person to do better, to complement on government projects, to complement on what we have done in the past? There must be progressive nature of doing things. We must continue to build on what we have and make it better and become the best version of who we are as a people. So we'll continue to be in one way or the other discussing politics.
And getting involved in politics.
And getting involved in politics.
And coming out for more campaigns.
That, for now, I don't know.
Oh, all right. But if people want you to serve, who are you to say no?
If the people call me, I believe in service to my people. And leadership is demanded. And when the people demand for leadership, you must give them leadership. Because there will always be a Messiah. And there will always be that man and that woman that God has prepared for his generation. It might be you, it might be me, it might be anyone. But we must be involved in fine-tuning and leading our people.
I like the fact that I started with me first.
Thank you.
But it's okay. I want to say thank you so much, Prince Seven, for being on the show this morning.
Thank you.
And hope when next we need you, be available for us.
Thank you. Sure, always.
All right. Well, this is how far we can go this morning on talking about youth harnessing potentials in Nigeria. Do remember you can join in the conversation on our various social media handle displayed on the screen right now. And never you forget that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. My name is Godwin Sunday. From all of us here in the studio, it's bye for now.